Hello, everyone, and this is another episode of Meet My Familiar. And today we have a very special guest, Ethony Dawn, amazing author and creator, and tarot teacher and reader, and all of those things. I'm so excited for her to join me, and she's going to be sharing about her dog familiar, which I'm very excited about. And I'm excited because I get to see my friend Ethony. That's what I'm really excited about. Oh shoot, you can't hear. Hold on. Thank you. I'll restart. I'll restart. Let me get my head. Sometimes the headset doesn't work. Is it? Can you hear me now? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Yes, no. Hearing me? Can you hear me? Hello. I might have to do a new one because nobody says that they're hearing me. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Let's bring Ethony on. Still in Mercury retrograde? It feels like it. I mean, do we ever leave Mercury retrograde at this point? I feel like we're always in it. There we are. Hello, beauty.
Hi,
How are
hi.
you?
Yeah, good. Just getting, ready for the holidays and, doing all the mum things and the, family things, preparing for it. So,
Yeah, I know. It's such a busy time. I mean, I'm like, I'm doing sessions with the clients, and then I'm like, oh, I've got a 2 hour block. I can go
right.
shopping. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
100%. I've been doing that too. Like tomorrow, I've got to go get, and I apologize to all the vegetarians out there, but tomorrow I've got to go pick up the turkey because you almost have to like reverse engineer everything, right? So it's like, okay, so we're doing Christmas Eve because I've got my in-laws are coming, so we're doing Christmas Eve dinner, which is my family was usually Christmas Day, but that's the only day we have with them. So it's like, okay, so then I got to thaw it out and then I gotta brine it. Let's so you gotta like pace your timing. So I gotta go get it on Friday morning.
It's like full project
It is.
management
Oh, it
spreadsheet. It's
totally is. Who's bringing the potatoes? Who's like it fully is. Yeah.
all right. Well, listen, I'm going to introduce you the proper way. We just got started chit-chatty. You know, you and I get together.
Friends, yeah.
I know. We're so happy to see one
Yeah.
another. So I don't know if you ever sent me a bio, but I just found
Oh my
one
God, I'm
on,
so
I
bad for
found
it.
one online, so I'm going to read it. And if you want to add anything or
Sure.
tell any changes, because, you know, I know how we are. Our bios that we find online might be 6 years old and like completely out of date. So it says, Ethony Dawn is a tarot reader and author who loves to create more than sleep. She is the creator of the Bad Bitches Tarot, the Awakened Soul Oracle, the Prince Lenormand Oracle, and the Money Magic Manifestation cards. You have done so much since
I
then. I'm
really have.
just telling you.
Yeah.
She is the headmistress at tarotreadersacademy.com, where she teaches and mentors tarot professionals and students through the courses available there. You can visit her at ethony.com. So, what about that bio needs updating?
Well, I'm still the headmistress of the academy. I'm a high priestess of a coven, an online coven, which is going into its ninth year in
Oh,
2025. Yeah, we've been going 9 years strong. And is a teaching coven, so it's open to new people who want to find the craft. Yeah, I've done the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot. I've got a revamp of the Money Magic. I've published 3 books. Next year will be my 3rd book with Llewellyn. I do all the things.
yeah,
I don't stop.
yeah. By the way, your books are amazing. I'm so disorganized. I had no internet and I was fussing around trying to fix the internet. And
I don't
so
even know where
I didn't
mine
bring your books
is.
over here, but I'm
They're
sorry
in a
about that.
pile on my desk right now
I know.
because I'm working on a 450-page manuscript, which is due to Llewellyn tomorrow. Yeah, my desk is an absolute
Oh
nightmare.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. So you can find Ethony's books online. We sell them in our shop. You can find them at all the places, the usual places. And
Yay.
I'm very excited about this new book, and I'm excited um, for you to reveal it, what it's going to be. I know you do like I do and wait for the do the little
Yes.
striptease and reveal.
Well, I mean, I'm on my second review. So, for those who like have ever worked with a publisher, or have gone through a work in progress, even if you have like a private editor, usually this is what happens, right? If you hire someone, so you send it over, and then they send you like the top down editorial stuff. So that's where I finished that. So then it will be over for a couple of months before I get the final one back with all the layout and everything. So but this one, I got to say, Madam Pamita, I cried a lot over this one. Not because it was like emotionally hard, but because I was trying to culminate, like that's even not even a word, but I was trying to put 26 years of experience into a book, and that's so hard. It's like I could probably reread that and add things all the time, and you probably know, right? Because you've written so many beautiful books yourself. So I was just like, oh my God, what if I don't say this in there? And it's just like, look, you got to like let it up, Virgo rising, like fucking calm down.
You know what? I say every book you learn after you've written more than one book, that every book is like an individual child,
It's so
and
true.
some will bring you joy, and some will bring you tears, and some will bring you frustration, and then joy, and then you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like all the
100%.
gamut. Like right now, I'm writing in the middle of writing a book too, and I was so looking forward to writing this book, and I'm just like, well, because of the holidays, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like putting it off, goofing off. Oh God, it's horrible. But anyway, this is not the reason we're here to talk about our book woes. Although it's fun to talk about that. But we are here to talk about familiars, because I've got a new book coming out in January called The Witch's Guide to Animal Familiars. It is coming out at the end of January. They moved the pub date up to the 28th of January, but I'm super excited about it. Yay. And for anybody that orders the print book, the audiobook, or the ebook, if they pre-order those, you can come over to animalfamiliars.com and sign up. So that was the impetus for me. Well, kind of part of the impetus for me to do this interview show. But the other part was, as I was telling my colleagues about this, or giving out, the pre-draft so that people could read it and give a review. I had heard so many amazing stories. People would say, "Oh my gosh, this is so great because I've got this wonderful animal in my life." And so then I said, "Well, gosh, I love hearing these stories, and I want to actually talk to people about their animals." So thus, Meet My Familiar was born. So tell us a little bit about your gorgeous, adorable familiar.
So yeah, it was really interesting sitting with this question because I actually have and I don't know if this is because I'm a Gemini or what, but I actually have two.
Yeah.
And I tried to take a photo with the other one, but here's my crotchety old man, and he looked miserable in the photos. But his name is Thor. So I have well, one of them is Pushing's background. We have lots of familiars in the house, so I also just want to warn everyone who's watching that my son is sick from home from school. So when he comes down, they're probably going to start barking, and then you'll hear the cacophony of dogs. Um, yeah, so I've had many familiars over my life, but I got Thor, who is a Havanese cross poodle. Not 2019, I want to say, or late 2018, and I got him right before, so he was before the pandemic. So it was way before the pandemic. So thankfully he wasn't a pandemic dog. And I got him because like I grew up around animals. I've had everything from freaking quails, budgies, rabbits, horses, dogs. The only thing I've never really had, but I've rescued a lot of them, were cats because I'm extremely allergic. I was allergic to the rabbit too, but I just didn't touch him as much. And we would take home the guinea pig from school, and I've had mice, I've had rat. I mean, like, if there was an animal, I've had turtles because we had a creek. We've had frogs like in our back garden. So growing up in Australia, everyone thinks about like, oh, spiders, but like I had animals everywhere. So they were a huge part of my life growing up. And being by myself in a country so far away from everybody, and I was single at the time, I was lonely and I needed like some, comfort. And I also am very open about my mental health and depression and anxiety. And I was like, okay, so I didn't want to get like, he's not technically like a support animal, but one thing I did realize, the gift that this familiar gave me was, they forced me to get out of my apartment, because if I there are times, like, to be real, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't get out of the apartment. I go straight into hermit mode and I wouldn't leave. But we live in an apartment, and he's staring at Apollo's staring at me. Hang on, I got to show you guys.
Yes,
Where are
absolutely.
you, Bubba? Where is he? Oh no,
There
there
he
he
is.
is. That's Apollo. Hello, sir.
So
So funny.
cute.
He's so cute. That's my second one. So the blessing of yeah, being forced to go outside, and forced to have that routine of, like, when you get up, you got to go out, you got to take them out before they go to bed. And, like, I'm out like 4 or 5 times a day, and I hike nearly every day with them. So I got him, and he has just been a huge big bundle of love, and he's very connected to my son, who he just absolutely loves. And then we got Apollo. We actually have another one, Venus, but she's very much my wife's familiar. And she'll literally, like, sit on her lap and hug her. It's very cute. But
Mm,
we got Apollo a couple of years, or he's going to be 2 in May or March. I have to look up their days.
so cute.
And he sleeps at my feet whenever I'm doing calls or rituals. He wants to be with me. Oh, hang on, look, he's doing that now. Come on. He wants to be with me all the time. Come on, baby, there you are. And yeah, they're gorgeous. But I've had snakes. I've had, like, I mean, like, yeah, animals and me. I do love them. Yeah.
It's so amazing. I mean, in looking at, let's holistically looking at that journey of witchcraft and magic and animals, what kind of, you can pick any single one of those or all of them collectively. I'm guessing that you have a different experience with each animal,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know.
100%. Yeah. So some of them, I mean, I found and even seeing, like, my sisters and things like that, like, when I was very connected to and active in the Australian witchcraft community, and I had an in-person coven there. And I remember every time there were two of the members had cats, and so every time the circle was cast, they would come and lie, like, in the
Mm,
circle. They were like, "Hello,
mm.
I'm here." They would be drawn to the circle. And as we know, if you've, children and animals are welcome to come into and go into the circle, because they are a part of that divine makeup. So we would always, like, welcome the animals in. I've had a sister witch, who had a beautiful greyhound that she rescued from a racing track, and same thing. That dog, used to think it was a lap dog. So funny. Circle was cast, that dog would come in, and that would be it. So I find that they absolutely attune to you. And I've said so many times, like, man, humanity on a whole does not deserve dogs, especially, like, I'm a bit partial.
Yeah.
I do like cats. I'm just extremely allergic. um but we don't just, like, it's like the unconditional, like, love that they give you is just, yeah, it's something. They're like little angels
Yeah.
with, like, four little leggies. I
Yeah,
love them so much.
I agree. I agree. Dogs are amazing. And the only reason I don't have a dog is because I travel
Yeah.
so much and I'm
Yes.
lazy as hell. And I'm also, well, I'm not lazy. I'm working all the
Yeah, I was
time.
about to say,
And
you don't
so,
have a lot of extra energy.
yeah, if you're not home for 10 hours a day, it's not unless you bring the dog with you, but then I've got a candle factory. So what am I going to do with that? You know, but, um, but, looking at like amazing animals and how dogs are so unconditionally loving, so devoted. And I've heard, in these interviews, which has been such a great collection. And these interviews, by the way, are going to be up and archived on YouTube as well. So
Oh,
they aren't going to
yay.
go away because I think they're so valuable in witch history and, your story being out there, of course. So, but anyway, looking at these animals and how they each have their own characteristics. And so you're talking about those. And do you find like that your dogs or any animals around you get interested when you're doing tarot readings, when you're doing spell work, when you're doing where do they kind of show up and what are they interested in? Because I do believe they have to show an interest. It has to come from
Yes.
them. You cannot force an animal to be a familiar any more than you can force someone to be a scientist or a
Yeah,
teacher
for
or something,
sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I work because we have a. If anyone knows Vancouver, Canada, you'll know the plight of our living existence. So we live in an apartment, and so I my office is also segmented from out the master bedroom. So this is their den basically. So I work in the den, and because they sleep in the beds with us. Come at me if you want to, but so they want to be in here all the time. And Apollo, who is now again sitting at lying curled up at my feet. So whenever I'm doing readings or ritual, they are always in here. Like Apollo, I've had to like in the middle of like coven work, I've had to be like, guys, wait a second, and like open the door because he's like literally banging the door trying to get in. So it's just like okie dokie, like everyone's used to it now. Like it's just like, and so that's really, really cute. So I don't keep him, he always wants to get on top of the table. Like he's always wanting uppies,
Yeah.
and wants to get on the table with whatever I'm doing. But I try not to get him up when I'm in a session because it's like that's about to become chaos. So
Exactly. I was just thinking too chaotic,
absolute fucking chaos. So, but they love being here. They want to be. They definitely want to be here, and I know for a fact that if I felt into their energies, like Thor, the eldest and the biggest of the three, he's definitely the guardian. He's very vocal. He'll talk to you, and not barking like he does. He almost does. Have you seen like the husky videos where they're like, rah,
Oh yeah.
rah, 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 rah. Like he'll do that all
Yes.
the time. He'll have a good old fucking chat with you. He loves it. And he will vocally tell you when he needs things or when something's going on. So he will, every night he sleeps with Dominic, my son. So he is always in there, and he is like the fierce protector. Which is perfect for a very psychic and empathic child, right? To have that dog as a guardian. Because we had
Mhm.
one growing up who was my sister's guardian, and he's still around, Redmond. And Venus is my wife's emotional support dog, like literally. But there's that meme that's like, I got a dog for my anxiety, but I got a dog with anxiety. It's like those two are like two peas in a pod. It's so funny. And so she's like joined at the hip with Jordan, just absolutely adores the snot out of her. And then Apollo is like the baby, but he follows me around everywhere.
It's like you each
Um,
have your own
we
familiar
do,
walking
we
around the
do, we
house.
no, we really do, and it's perfect because uh, all three of us are highly sensitive, highly intuitive people, and I do a lot of energy work in here, which means I cleanse the space often.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have those animals in here too, taking care of some of the other things that when I'm off, I don't see or don't tap into, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I really think that that cooperative energy of working closely with an animal that wants to work with in your magic, obviously, these are dogs that want to protect, energetically protect, or add their energy to your, readings and so on and so forth. And, alert you to any kind of disturbance or things that you didn't catch. We're only human and we don't catch everything, and dogs and other animals are so attuned to spirits and other things that are around that we may be distracted and not quite
Mm-hmm.
see. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Did you do you feel like when you have worked with these other animals in the past? I mean, I'm the same as you. I grew up with animals. We had a dog when I was growing up. We had cats when I was growing up. We had, as I was, middle school, I had a snake. I had hermit crabs. I had
Oh my gosh, hermit crabs! I've had
budgies.
like a million hermit crabs. They always died. I felt so bad for them.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're meant. I mean, when we learn, now I didn't have too many rodents. I didn't have any rodents. I just babysat the class rabbit who chewed everything in that house. I'm like, oh my God, what a disaster. But when working with these different animals, they have different energies. And can you compare, like, obviously the dog energy, which is very protective, very bonded with you, But have you worked with some of the other subtle energies of like the tortoises or the snakes, or what have you picked up from them that you could remark on?
Yeah, so I that's a really good question. With especially the snake I had, he was a beautiful albino hog nose. He's so
So
gorgeous.
beautiful.
I love snakes. I love snakes. I love geckos and lizards. And I mean, again, very Australian. Like we have lots of those things. Um, but I every time I see anything like that, I'm so happy. So he was very, I called him Severus Snake, and he was very chill. Um, I didn't connect with him as much as I wanted to because honestly, at the time when I got him, I was like, what on earth was I thinking? Because it was like you, it was like I'm not here. I was traveling a lot more, and I was like, I'm a crazy person. So I ended up gifting him to a friend. And he lives a very happy life there. So I think that, which is kind of funny considering it's like the the medicine of that is change and transformation. It's just like, that was a realization that this was just like not the right time. Um, but all of the animals that I've ever worked with, I think so there is a guy called Scott. There is a not a guy. There is a gentleman called Scott Alexander King, and he's Australian, and I met him many years ago. And he is honestly, I haven't checked, but he has a publishing, let me have a look, Animal Magic. I think it's still, I just don't want to give you guys something wrong. Animal Magic was his publishing company. I don't know if that's still up. And he was like the first person who ever did the Australian animal meanings that and I met him at a Mind Body and Soul expo back in like the early 2000s, and then we started to run in the same circles. And so it's so I guess for me, I always saw a lot of that stuff not in the context of it being domesticized, but being outside in the wild. So animal dreaming, here we go, animaldreaming.com. So for me, it was very much this like, these are animals that belong in the wild and belong in the wild spaces. And I think that's the thing that I probably would be a little bit careful about having different animals in the future, because I think the best place for them, if we can, is in the wild. But I'm outside a lot. I mean, British Columbia is beautiful, and you can, we go hiking, and I mean, one of the most amazing experiences was like this year when we went hiking, took the dogs, and we had my son, and there was this big owl. And I mean, like, I've got my tattoos, as you know, and owl is one of my totems. So, and I don't mean that in an appropriation way. My goddess is Athena, and that's, I mean, I'm wearing her ring, like that is my lunar animal. And this huge owl was just sitting in this tree, and it looked at us for a while, and it sat there. And sometimes these birds just like fly off, but this bird just like actually let me get pretty close to take a video, and then it flew. So like, when I feel like that for me has more of like a moment of like sacredness sometimes, and being like, I'm gonna have an animal in my space in a container, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So yeah. Or I would go, and I'm sure you talk about this in your book. Actually, I think you do, because I remember I did see a copy of it when you sent it. It's like, you can ask a question or ask for guidance, and then if you see this animal, or you experience this animal outside of maybe that familiar space, it's trying to tell you something as well. So I'm always on the lookout for like where that familial magic wants to work with me outside of it as well.
Yeah, I really agree with you. I mean, they're domesticated snakes, and it doesn't mean and domesticated animals. Like, you don't want to release a fancy rat, which is different than a street rat. You don't want to, or I don't know, whatever they call the rats that steal pizza in the subway. You don't want to, release a fancy rat, which is bred for being a domestic
Yes.
pet, into the wild, because that animal will not survive. So it's understanding which animals are domestic and
Hmm.
which animals are wild. And snakes, I think, probably there's some snakes that are domestic. I don't know enough about snakes to be address
No,
that, but I
I don't
feel
know
like,
either.
I don't, and especially in the proper environment. So sometimes having an animal as a pet is appropriate, even if we think of it as more of a wild animal because it's been
Yeah,
domesticated. But
agreed. Totally. Yeah.
like absolutely 100% working with wild animals as familiars is a different process. And I talk about this in the book, which is I think you get a very concentrated download or concentrated connection in those brief moments, like when you saw the owl. You're going to get that maybe whatever it was, 15, 20, 30 seconds, you are going to receive a huge energy exchange that is equivalent to what you get on your day to day
Mm-hmm.
with an animal that's in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So not to look at or to judge the experience by time or number of time, quantity, or the quantity of time or the quantity of encounters. You can have one beautiful moment where you look into a stag's eyes for 5 seconds, and that
Right.
can be so
Mm-hmm.
powerful. So I think that understanding that is what you brought up is so important, and understanding these animals that are wild animals, you can have amazing experiences, amazing energy exchanges, amazing insights, and and like you had, like transformative events that happen within um you know 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yes, someone said, I have, let's see who this is. Someone, Juggernaut Man says, I have a pet pigeon. They won't survive if you release them. I've hand fed him since he was a month old. He now eats food I
Oh.
buy, but is very
Oh.
attracted to me,
Oh.
attached to me. So sweet. Yeah, I love that. Nikola Tesla had a
He did.
a
He loved
pigeon.
his pigeons. Oh my God, he was obsessed with pigeon. Wasn't he like in love with the
He was
pigeons?
in love with the pigeon. Like,
He
I
like
think,
wrote poetry and shit, like
yes,
letters and stuff.
I
Like
think
he was what a
I
special
love that.
guy.
I know. And this is the thing, people go, well, he was crazy. He was this or that. I think he was just a person. I mean, I'm not saying like bestiality or anything like that, but a person who had this romantic love of this animal, like that, just loved this animal, adored this animal, and had such a connection. And, everyone's like, oh, you're such a weirdo, or there's a mental illness, or wants to diagnose that. And I think that's someone who's deep. He was just definitely like a Aquarian thinker. I don't know who Aquarius is not, but that like type of thinking. And I think, oh, he just really was awakened and open and aware of the connection we can have with animals,
And I mean, the thing is, like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people say things like, "Oh, he was this, that, and the other." It's like, well, first of all, you went there, so
Yeah,
we don't know. We can surmise and we can, whatever, but we weren't there. And the other thing is too is like, I mean, he was clearly before his time,
yeah,
and maybe that out of timeness made it so that connecting with an animal is a lot easier than connecting with a person.
yeah,
And the funny thing is that people fall in love with fictional characters in books and movies and all that all the time, all
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
Like, like you just go onto like TikTok, or whatever. It's like, my book boyfriend. It's like has fallen in love with a fictional character. So to just, yeah, I think that there's a lot but I can understand, like I can see, not understand, but I can see, like, from someone who has got all of this stuff going on in their exceptional brain, that having maybe just a very simple love with a bird, yeah, makes sense to me.
Right. Well, I mean, I talk about also in the book that where the concept of the witch is familiar as it was defined, and that word and that phrase comes from the witch hunters. It wasn't coming from the witches
Mhm.
themselves. So this was coming from the witch hunters, and in
Oh yes, of
particular,
course. Yeah,
the
well,
Hammer of
they had a
Witches, right?
familiar. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah,
start
yeah.
saying that if a witch is this is a sign of someone being a witch, which is they talk to their animals. They're
Correct.
kind to their animals.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, so if we look, because in those days, your animals, I mean, there was horrific animal abuse. the Bible was saying you have dominion over
Oh,
all the beasts.
oh, it
And
still
so
says that.
yeah, so it's like the norm was to be cruel to animals. And so if you weren't being cruel to animals, then there was something wrong with you. So
Mhm.
we have evolved, and in particular in the late 1800s with animal welfare, and thinking about animal welfare has only been around for 150 years maybe. And prior to that, people were horrific to animals, including
Mhm.
the Enlightenment concept that Rousseau said, which was animals don't even have any physical sensation,
Yeah,
so
I
you
know.
can do whatever to
That's
them.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
oof.
So when we look at somebody who's such a forward thinker, such a progressed thinker, and an expanded mind, and they say, I love this pigeon, and people going, you're weird, because but then people could have loved their dogs or their cats. It just, pigeon was weird, you know what I mean? So it's like it's interesting to see how our concept and our connection in general in humanity is improving, our connection to animals, but looking at this familiar relationship and how incredibly
Mm.
powerful, you know. Um, Oh, Auntie Mojo Jojo says pigeons always make me sad, being birds that are actually domesticated rather than just tamed like other birds. And we just abandoned them after they weren't useful
Mm.
anymore. Well, I think pigeons, though, if we look at the animals that live in cities that are actually thriving, so they have adapted. It's not that we were leaving them to starve, they've adapted. Rats have adapted, lizards have adapted, and pigeons as well. Crows, ravens, corvids have adapted really quite well. So some pigeons did not make that adaptation, but the rock doves, which are the pigeons that we see, those gray iridescent pigeons that we see everywhere, have adapted quite well, and they may be happier
Yep.
being free. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if I look at the familial animal magic that we have here, there's two skunks that I see often, and thank goodness I've been able to avoid getting sprayed because it's usually when I'm taking the dogs out. But I see them all the time. We have a huge family of raccoons. I see all the time, like at least once a week. I see these little things. We have huge squirrels, like I mean, like the big Emma
Yeah.
effers. We have corvids, like we have so many crows. It is unbelievable, but they are intrinsically connected to the land and the indigenous people here. We have this beautiful family of coyote who actually live in a cemetery down the road from us. And I've been seeing this same family of coyotes since I moved here. And like I literally saw one of them out the other day, and it made me so happy because I mean, he or she, I wasn't gonna go check, right? But like this adult coyote was healthy, and like I've seen them when they don't look healthy and they look scraggly and the fur's falling off. I'm like, this was like a beautiful, healthy coyote. It made me so happy. So I also understand that. And then if you live in a city, that has been built around raccoons and all that kind of stuff or whatever it may be in your area, that's going to be the same thing, right? You've got those, and
Yeah.
they're familiars to the space that you're in. They're the familiars to that
Yeah.
city, to that space. So we
Yeah.
got to treat those. I'm always really kind to them, and as long as you're not going to spray me with your little skunky tail, we cool, you know.
Well,
I think you guys, I'm backing away.
I want the cemetery coyotes to have their own Instagram
Oh
account.
my
I think
god,
somebody
I
needs to make
love
that happen.
them. The thing is like I know where they are, but I think like people have we it's kind of like this un spoken, maybe, I don't know, but I wouldn't want to go try. I have a feeling I know where their den
Yeah,
is,
but you don't want to
but I
bother
think
their
it's like
den.
everyone kind of just like leaves them alone,
Yeah, yeah,
which is lovely. But oh my gosh, he was so beautiful. Like I was just so happy that he looked so
yeah.
good.
Oh,
And I'm like, this is your land. This ain't my land. This isn't anybody else's. Like you were here, your spirits were here long fucking before we
yeah,
were. And we just came in and dumped our shit here. So, I'm very aware of that kind of stuff, around
yeah.
here.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're at time almost.
We
Well, we
are,
are at
yeah.
time. We're past time, but I want to ask you one last question,
Yes.
and then we can wrap up. But is there any tip, trick, idea, something that you would give to someone who, let's say, wants to have a familiar or wants has an animal that keeps showing up for them? Is there anything that you would sort of
Yes.
say
Yes.
to that?
Slow down and observe. It's not about accumulating or catching them like they're Pokemon or forcing a connection or feeling as though they need to be like Salem from Serena the Teenage Witch and telling you all the things all the time. Slow down. Um, Animals work on a subtle level, and they are connected to those subtle magical energies. And I'm not like, yes, some dogs are the drama and some cats are bitches and they're gonna let you know, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, if you do any energy work, if you do any magic, any tarot, anything like that, any meditation, you know how the subtle energies work, and your familiar is going to be on that level more than it's going to be on the telling you right to your face. So slow down, quieten yourself as much as you can, and just observe. And I am a very like loud, vivacious, out there kind of person. But I have done a lot of wildlife photography. I have worked with a lot of animals. I've had the most amazing. I could go on about the amazing experiences I've had with monkeys and orcas and all sorts of stuff. And none of that would have happened if I was rushing through the areas I was in, making a whack fuck of noise, being impatient and not allowing things through observation and subtlety. So slow down, take in what's around you, get off your fucking phone, and like just yeah, allow it to come to you and be in those spaces.
So good. I mean, we didn't even talk about kangaroos, koalas, or wallabies once. Aren't you proud of me?
I've got photos of I've fed kangaroos from bottles, and on more than one occasion in my life I worked in kangaroo rescues. My stepmom worked in a koala hospital. Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so they even have an ambulance, guys. If you look up the koala hospital, if you ever want to donate to a good charity, if you like koalas, they literally have a ambulance for the koalas.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, there's I think we are not, and I know every witch, every pagan, every intuitive person who is truly walking their talk is just, they know that we are connected and we are a part of this, and we are not separate, and we are not
Yeah.
separate ever from the world around us and the animals in it. So we have to look after our brethren and our
Yeah.
sisters and the spirits. So yeah, just that slowing down and meeting them where they're at is can be really powerful.
So good. So good. So do you have any thing coming up, project? I know you have a new book that just came out. Do you want to talk
Yes.
about your books, your projects, your events, your classes, whatever all is going on that you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah. So Terra Grimoire just came out in August. It's somewhere I literally, like I said, I'm working on my manuscripts, and my desk is an absolute mess. But
Such
my
a good
Year of
book.
Enchantment,
Yeah.
thank you. My Year of Enchantment, which is my 12-month coven training, is actually open right now for enrollment. It starts in January, and that's 12 months of. Oh my gosh, we have 3 live calls a month, including a full moon ritual every month. There's meditation, there's mentors, there's this private community. Like we've been doing, like I said, I've been doing this for 9 years online, so I've kind of got it down. But we're open for new members. But I have so many freebies too, like my Tarot by the Moon. So go and find all the goodies at ethony.com, and if you have any questions about any of it, you can DM me, and I can answer questions. But I also love all of your books, and I appreciate your friendship and support
Oh,
always. And I really really hope that your family is blessed and healthy and
yeah,
well
everybody's
throughout the
healthy.
holidays.
Yes,
It
everybody's
makes me
good.
so
Yeah.
happy, and that you guys stay prosperous and well
Thank
throughout the
you.
holidays.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ethony, for joining me. And thank you, all of you guys that have been watching, tuning in, and anybody who's watching this recording. Thank you so much. This is such beautiful witch history that we're recording here. And I think these little segments are so important. And that's why I want to put them on YouTube so that they live on and people can find them. So
amazing. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of our community too for doing this.
Yeah, it's fun. I get to see everybody. I miss everybody. So it's nice to get to see everyone too. So our next Meet My Familiar will be with Nori Negron, also, AKA Scorpio, from Witch Space, the Witch Space podcast. And we'll be doing our live here on Instagram on Saturday, December 21st on Yule at 12 p.m. Pacific, 1 Mountain, 2 Central, 3 Eastern. I want to remind everybody, if you want to make magic with the special animals around you, check out The Witch's Guide to Animal Familiars. It's coming out on January 28th, 2025. And then go to animalfamiliars.com. You can pre-order there. Pre-orders are huge for authors. So it's a wonderful way for you to give back to the authors that you love, not just me, but any author that you appreciate their work. Do a pre-order because they're hugely impactful. So
yes, they are.
Yeah, and if you go to animalfamiliars.com, we've got great bonuses. We have the first bonus that we have is you can join me for the full moon workshop. These workshops are normally $40. You get a free pass to the January workshop, which is an introduction to animal familiar magic. You'll learn about how to work with wild animals, how to work with domestic animals, how to know if an animal is interested in working with you, and we'll go into great detail with that. So I hope you will join me for that class, and you can, pay for it, but why not order the book, pre-order the book, and get the class for free? It's such
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Thank you. I'm going to hire you to be my pitch woman. All right, everybody. Thank you again, Ethony, and thank you all. And we'll see you on Saturday. Have a great holiday, everyone. Happy almost Yule. And take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.